welcome to this, and this is a couple days late, but I wanted to do this. This is actually going to be my thoughts on the live impact because I do think it's something that needs to be covered. That said, the Mania review will probably not be up till Monday night. If it comes up tomorrow, it will probably be very early in the morning due to the fact that I have to work tomorrow and I have to work early on Monday. So it might not be up until Monday night, just to let you know so don't start freaking out. I am ordering it, so I will be able to watch it, but I have to work tomorrow night, so I won't actually be able to watch it until starting, until I get home. I'll be about 30 minutes behind everybody, but not any of you want to know that. Anyways, to the point of hand, due to the fact that the wrestling world has descended upon Orlando, of course, TNA being actually smart and being something that a lot of us thought that they should do, they did a TV tapings, and a live impact. Now, this, in my opinion, the live impact showed everything that was right and wrong about TNA all in one time, because this was just, it amazed me just how strange this came off, to be completely honest. Because let's start before we even got to the night. TNA, there had been rumors, and I'm going to continue this. This is a rumor, but they were rumors that had been going around, rumblings, I should actually say. They had been going around for a while that TNA wanted to somehow make sure they could control the live crowd. They were apparently somewhat scared that they were going to get a crowd that may not be as receptive to their product as they wanted. So, to do that, for those of you not aware, they invited, the Impact Zone holds about 900 people. They VIP'd 700 seats. Meanwhile, there were about, I believe, about 3,000, give or take. I'm going to say about 3,000, probably closer to about 2,000, probably 2,000 to 3,000 people sitting outside. Some have said that it was actually more than that, waiting to get into the Impact Zone. At no point did TNA explain to these people that only about 200 people were going to be able to get in. Universal was not aware of this because they did not tell Universal, and you had all these people who probably paid to get in. Some people had waited 4 to 6 hours, which means they had been pretty much there all day waiting to see Impact, and then weren't allowed to get in because TNA invited all of these special VIP seats for the Impact. I'm sorry, that was a huge mistake. This was a live Impact. You know what? You roll the dice. You let these people in. If they like your show, they like your show. If they don't, they don't. If you get chants you don't like, too bad. It's called a live show. This gives you a better representation of what you should be putting on and what people want to be seeing. And if you don't do that, you're just fooling yourself, in my opinion. A lot of people were upset, and apparently the crowds for Friday and Saturday, or today, for that. Yesterday and today, were not as good due to the fact that, well, people had other things to do. You had both Ring of Honor shows going on, you had the Hall of Fame show going on tonight, and you had Fan Access going on. Thursday was the day that more people were going to have a chance to see, that weren't normally going to see Impact, able to see Impact. So I think TNA totally botched on that, in my opinion. It's a huge mistake. I know a lot of people come on, oh, well, they gave out free tickets. No, they didn't give out free tickets to the Impact, free VIP tickets to Friday and Saturday shows. Universal did. So just to make that clear. That said, let's talk about the show itself. As I said, this is a representation of everything that is wrong with TNA. We started off, and it wasn't too bad. We started off with this brawl. They didn't really explain why the brawl was going on, but we started off with this live brawl that was going on between Booker T and Robert Roode. Cornette came out, and Cornette, doing what Cornette can do, sold the fact of the two matches that they wanted to sell, particularly the match they wanted to have, which was the First Blood match, better, and showed that their creative is not using him in the right way, and that he should be used to sell a lot more of these matches and make people much more wanting to see a lot more of these matches than what they did. But that's where it started. Everything looked okay. You had a crowd that was kind of there, but not really there, not as vocal as probably you want to be, and I think that has to do with you had a lot of VIPs there, and you didn't have a lot of probably real wrestling fans there. The next thing we had was Johnny Devine versus Alex Shelley, and my biggest problem with this was the fact that Johnny Devine came out with Team 3D, and then Alex Shelley came out with Nobody, and I was like, where the hell, you know, why is this? Why is Alex Shelley coming out looking like a jobber because he's coming out by himself? You know, what is up? Where is Saban? Why isn't Saban out here with him? It was a complete. It wasn't very good, in my opinion. There was also some flubs throughout, technical flubs, and this is what I'm talking about because the match was really good. The wrestling on the entire show was actually good. The problem was you had bad camera angles and you had production flubs throughout the night. The next match, Scott Steiner, P. Williams, and Panther Claw, or whatever they want to call her, or not Panther Claw. I'm reading this. I'm reading the spoilers off of here, but Panther Claw, whatever. Versus LAX and with Shelly Martinez in a intergender tag match, which was good, except that they kept goofing up the camera angles. They kept missing stuff everywhere. This was like, what are they doing? And it was stuff like this all night. It was just all of these production flubs that they kept doing. And like I said, the wrestling was really good for almost every match. But that was the production of it. They kept missing stuff, and then we got the Karen Angle segment. That's what I care about that. We got the Kurt Angle training segment, which I don't think came off very good. The Booker T, Robert Roode match. Robert Roode needs to learn how to blade. Let's be honest. Awesome Kong versus ODB. That was a very good match. Christian, Rhino, Kevin Nash, Sting, taking on Sting, and Sting taking on Tomko, AJ, and the Dudley Boys. This was actually a pretty good match. I know a lot of people were kind of like, why did they give this away on free television? I think it served its purpose. I thought the ending kind of didn't make a lot of sense, but I think overall, I think the match was good. And I think it gave that, a big event feel to it. I think this, one of the things I would gripe about with Sting was them doing the whole light thing with the Sting. With Sting, I think that was a little lame. I think that was a little he's not the Undertaker. He doesn't have these mystical powers like, I don't get it why they do that. But they did it. I didn't think it came off very well myself. But all the matches were really good. It was all the production stuff. It was the behind-the-scenes stuff. It was just, you had a promo that you had a promo which had no sound. You had all of this stuff, and then I read people go, oh, well, this was yes, there were production problems, but this was the first live Impact. Yes, except that they do a live pay-per-view every month. You're telling me there's that much of difference between doing a live pay-per-view and a live TV show? There's not. I'm sorry. Yes, mistakes happen, but this whole thing was a mistake. You had all sorts of just bad stuff going on this Impact. And while again, I think the matches were good, everything around the matches sucked. And I think that just shows what's wrong with Impact, or not Impact, but TNA. The fact that you get good wrestling, but everything around the wrestling is so crappy and makes you so pissed off sometimes, and just makes you not care. Bad camera angles can kill a match. It killed the intergender tag match. That, and you had both women standing around, and by the time the women got involved, then they took the camera away. It was just, oh god, made my head hurt. So you know what? I gotta give, I don't think TNA delivered on this. I think it was pretty bad, to be completely honest. I think that even though the wrestling was good, and I don't think that if somebody turned in to see this, and I'll get to that in a second, someone turned in to see this first time, there was nothing to make them turn in more. And second of all, what an epic fail. A 1.0 on a live show? Holy crap. You're kidding me. That is horrible. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. That is bad. That is, they should have been somewhere 1.5 to a 2. I'm sorry. That's the honest truth. I wish I came on here and did a video before and say that, what, this is probably where they're going to get. I honestly thought they were going to beat freaking ECW this week, and it didn't happen. So, oh my god. So, just not the live Impact, in my opinion, was somewhat of a failure for TNA. Sorry. Later.